Dig deeper into General Fan's visit and the relationship between Beijing and Washington. Joining us now from Beijing is Teng Jianqun. He's an arms control expert at the China Institute of International Studies. Mr. Teng, what does a visit like this do to further the military relationship between these two countries, would you say?
Actually, this is a continuation of the military-to-military exchanges between the two countries. General Fan Chang's visit this time, of course, came across a very sensitive time. You mentioned the dispute over South China Sea, cyberspace. So I think, generally speaking, the two militaries, do have enjoyed their, good relations in recent years. So I'm quite optimistic about the future of the two militaries in cooperate not only in the traditional security area, but also the non-traditional threat dealing. For example, the disaster relief and also anti-piracy and other areas. So I'm very optimistic about the future of the two militaries.
Well, it's funny, there's optimism there in Beijing from you. Another analyst who's been on our broadcast a lot, Douglas Powell, says he thinks that this really suggests a maturing of the military dialogue. Do you agree with that?
Yeah, I'm quite agree with Douglas' argument. Actually, the two militaries has become more mature in every aspect. For example, in recent years, the Chinese military has become more active and more open up to the outside world, and also very active in participating the exercise with the United States and other nations in Asia Pacific region. So this is a very promising tendency for the two militaries. And as the two sensitive areas, the two sensitive militaries, they all agreed to cooperate in dealing with the challenges in this region.
Now, some were hoping that this might actually lower the volume of all the criticism coming from the Obama administration aimed at China. But then right as this thing is ending, as Roy Ruttenberg was just reporting, there's another leak of a story, ends up on the Associated Press. Perhaps there was another cyber attack, hacking. What do you make of all of that? And where do we go in terms of the relationship between the United States and China, these sensitive issues, South China Sea and cybersecurity?
Actually, to my observation, the competition in security between the two countries has been intensified in recent years. We used to heard a lot about complaint from the United States about China's human rights, Tibet or Xinjiang issues, but not so much in recent days. But we heard a lot on security issues, topics, for example, the cyberspace, the territorial claims, in South China Sea and Eastern China Sea. So this is a new development or new tendency for the two countries to deal with. How can they maintain a stable relationship? Actually, this is a main task for the decision makers of the two countries, and also for the military leaders. They should sit down and talk about these challenges. For example, how can they have a very stable relationship now, and how can they establish a code of conduct or principles while their fighters or vessels meet each other. This is actually new area for the two countries to sit down to talk about the rules or principle or code of conduct in dealing with the dispute between the two countries.
Let me, before you go, one final question. We've got the SE&D dialogues coming up, and then, of course, later this summer, President Xi here for a state visit in September. What do you see in terms of these continued conversations that we're seeing between these two countries?
In recent years, we have witnessed the differences and also the agreement between the two countries in economy, in security, in politics. We are lucky that the two top leaders, President Xi Jinping and President Obama, both have realized the importance to cooperate to avoid any direct clash or confrontation in Asia Pacific region. This is actually a new development for the two countries. How can they, the two countries, sit down and maintain a stable relationship? So I think the exchanges, at various levels, from the president's level to the, even the academic level, are of great importance for the good understanding. We have witnessed some suspicions from each side in recent days. Some worries has been developed in these years. We visited Washington D.C. and we heard a lot about the complaint about what China is going to do, what China is going to go. So I think dialogue or exchanges are of great importance for to kick off all these obstacles for the relationship.
Mr. Teng, thanks so much for joining us from Beijing. Appreciate it.